Okay, so somebody was saying it was hard to hear me talk over the music on my other run through on Sentinel Comics here. I do have the physical book here beside me, and I apologize. One of the reasons that I do the music is listening to myself breathe because I don't breathe too very well on video. On audio is a little bit troubling sometimes. So I tend to like putting the music up just at least partially because I don't like to hear myself. Anyway, so clearing a little bit of space. Let's go ahead and do this. So, first I got the quick thing here. Oops, we don't want to do that. The quick thing here. The guided method, step by step. This is the guided method is the random method. And you have step 1, backgrounds. Step 2, power source. Step 3, archetype or archetype. Step 4, personality. Step 5, red abilities. Step 6, retcon. And step 7, health. Step 8 is finishing touches, which is basically the final step of most of these things. And I'm going to start into this without a particular concept in mind, and I am going to do the dice via the D&D dice roller. Now, the background, the dice is always the same. It's always 2d10. The quick reference thing has all the charts here without, the specifics. I'll be looking up the specifics in the book. It has the red abilities and the health and the list of principles. It does not have the list of what do these powers mean charts, but that's fine. Okay. So I might be looking to this. I tend to find it good to have this on hand, this chart with the powers and the qualities, just to have it on hand for when you're making a character and it's asking you to choose one or the other. But we're going to go ahead and start with the background. Backgrounds, you always roll 2d10. So I'm going to change this to here. And you get a 7 and a 5. So the way you do this is you can choose either one of those or the combination of any two. So we only rolled 2 dice, so we don't have a third, which means we do not, if you have 3 dice, if you roll 3 dice, you're going to end up with 6 choices because the 3 individually, die 1 plus die 2, die 2 plus die 3, and die 1 plus die 3. So that's a total of 6 options. In this case, we only rolled 2, so we only have 3 options. And those are unremarkable, academic, and criminal. I don't really feel like doing criminal. I could do a reroll. You are allowed to. The game allows you to do 1 reroll as you wish per turn on the guided method. And to be perfectly honest, I doubt a GM is going to bother with making you stop at 1 reroll if you really didn't find anything that makes you interested. I mean, one of the options is just to build it. Just to pick what you want. So, let's see here. Academic is an expertise. Expertises are interesting. Unremarkable is an identity. But the next step of academic is only 2 dice. I'm going to go with unremarkable. Okay, so what does unremarkable mean exactly? It's not struggling. You were just a regular person leading a normal life until something came along and changed your life in a major way. You came from a commonplace background, but now you're a hero. I could do this as well. I already have it here. I could do it as 8, 7, and 15. And that might actually, let's see what that is. because I wasn't tragic, academic, and 15 is Exile, which is ideals, and expertise again. This is a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do both roles and I'll choose between all the different options that rolled up, which is, I think, not exactly how it was meant to be done, but it's what you want, the character you want. The guided method is more to give you ideas when you don't sit down with a specific concept in mind. Let's see. Actually, Exile sounds interesting, so I'm going to go ahead and go with X. But I would have to decide what they would be exile from. Sure, we'll do exile. Okay. So, for exile, that's 15. You're far from home, one way or another. You may have left of your own accord, but it's equally likely that you were sent away from whatever place you came from. Either way, you're making your own way in the land where you now live. This doesn't mean you were punished and sent away. You might just be, let's see here, like, I lived in Japan for 7 years. That would fit into this kind of situation, that kind of concept. Now, what Exile gives me, we get a D10 and a D8 to assign to some qualities. Conviction, insight, and an information quality. So, we can look over here. Let's see here. Oops, nope, too far. Need to go up. Oh, I was at the backgrounds. I need to be here. So, insight is social, conviction is mental, and then any one of these. I think... I think I'll do insight and otherworldly mythos. Nope. Let's try deep space knowledge. Insight and deep space knowledge. Now, something to consider. Where do I want... I think I'll put this at D10 and this at D8. Something to consider. Do you see this asterisk here? Right there. That means these class of qualities can possibly be used in figuring out your health. That's why there's this here. There are some archetypes that alter that you'll be able to get health from a lot of things, but in general, your highest of either mental or athletic, one, not both. Your highest of athletic powers and mental qualities will be added to your hit points. So I could have put conviction just for the hit points, but I didn't want conviction. I want insight and deep space knowledge. I think I'm got the idea of a researcher going on here. So the next step, I am not quite done with Exile yet. Next is we have to go to the ideals. Ideals is way down here. Starts here. Chaos, compassion, defender, dependence, equality, great power, hero, honor, justice, liberty, order, self-preservation, and zealot. This is where you get, ideals is where you get a lot of the traditional, let's see here, Spider-Man or Superman style motivations. Let's see, which one do I want them to be? So they're vaguely different. You have some slight differences. We don't want Zealot. I don't want Zealot. Now, I didn't mind playing a Zealot. Excuse me. As a note, in this game, you're expected to play heroes. So if you pick Zealot, that would be like Fnatic, who is one of my favorite characters in the card game. You're expected to be a heroic version of that Zealot. Now, each of these things include some of the downsides of their characteristic in the possible twists that can result. Like for Zealot, major twist, what has your faith called on you to do that no one else will understand? It's like you've done something that everybody else will feel is a terrible thing. There's a couple others like the inner demon, where you could end up doing some things, or rage is in here somewhere. Where is rage? Do. Identity. There it is, rage. So you could end up having doing terrible things as a result of a twist. I am going to go with liberty in this case, which is you believe strongly in freedom and will always side with the oppressed. You can never be truly mentally restrained. So we're going to be going with the principle of liberty. And I am not going to sing the Liberty Insurance jingle. I am not going to do it. No. Nope. Can't make me. Okay. You end up with two principles. One comes on background and the other comes on your archetype. Okay. And they give you your first green abilities too. Okay. Or this one does. You're going to get some other green abilities before we get to the other one. Probably, anyway. Now, this bit here, you can never be truly mentally restrained. That is a role-playing thing. You can still be affected by like mind control stuff that will get in the way, but it's like in a role-playing sense, you will never be dominated to do something against your will in a role-playing scene. It might happen in an action scene, but not in a role-playing one. The Indestructible one just makes you immune to unpowered fists and such, which again, these are role-playing benefits. How do you become temporarily trapped? And this is a minor twist, and the major twist is, how have you become a prisoner yourself? Yep. So those are that, and we're going to go ahead. Most of the principal abilities are fairly similar. There are a couple that are different. Oh, right, I forgot the tabbing is very wonky. Overcome in a situation where you are restricted or bound and use your max die. You and each of your allies gain a hero point. So every one of the principal actions gives you and all of your allies a hero point. They don't have to be in the same scene, just you and every ally gains a hero points. And hero points are things that be used to give temporary benefits to the next session. Overcome in most of these principles are overcome in X circumstances, use your max die instead of your mid die. Overcome is a general purpose action that you would take to like save the civilian or defuse the bomb. It's the general purpose, do something that isn't attacking or defending or whatever. Okay, so that is what you get out of backgrounds. Okay, we're going to scroll this back up on the here. Yep. So that is what you get out of backgrounds. And the next thing is we get to choose, we have to roll dice based off of right here. And for Exile, that is 3d8. And these 3d8 is how we're going to figure out what archetypes we're going to, not archetypes, power sources we're going to be having available to us. So that's a 3, 5, 5, and then 13. Well, no, 13 is not going to be one of them. We'll have 8 and 10 and 3 and 5. I tend not to like rolling doubles. I mean, it is how you get to some of the upper ones, and notice that with 3d8 we will not get extra dimensional, unknown, higher power, or the multiverse. Also note, you are free at any time to just say, you know what, I feel like picking X. But I'm just going through the guided thing. Okay, so let's see what 3 is, genetic. 5 is mystical, interesting. There are magician aliens in the setting, so that's a thing. 3 plus 5, which is twice, is powered suit. Excuse me. I'm not really feeling the powered suit. I tend not to. It's not my usual direction. And 5 plus 5 is 10 is tech upgrades, which I'm also not feeling. I think I'm going to do a reroll here. And I got another set of doubles. So that would be experimentation, nature, tech upgrades, or artificial being. Artificial being is interesting. That covers everything from robots to clones to homunculi to any of a number of different things. Also note that you can be an artificial being in terms of background but have a different power source. Like one of the iconics is Aeon Girl, and her power source is higher power, but she is very explicitly, she was created by the use of power between two entities. That one absorbed a lot of power from the Oblivion event and needed to do something with it, and with the help of somebody else fashioned a person. So she is very much would fit artificial being, but they decided to go with higher power. Okay. I think I will go with artificial being here. Now, power source is going to give us a lot of powers, oddly enough. It will also give us some yellow abilities. It might give us a green ability, maybe one green ability, but it will definitely give us some yellow abilities. It will not give us a principle. That will come with Archetype. But anyway, so artificial being, you can kind of see the powers you have available to you here. We have 3d8 to assign. There you are. Okay. It does have a green ability. Okay. So, in the options we have are inventions, robotics, signature weapon vehicles, signature weaponry, athletic powers, elemental energy powers, intellectual powers, mobility powers, self-control powers. I think I want a signature vehicle. I'll kind of want something that's like the equivalent of an alien V.E.S.P.A. You know, the little scooters. And it's like something that to get around a planet, not like a spaceship. So we'll call it the I mean, we can't really predict a right name for it because any alien name would be completely not hook on any idea. So what do we... So we're going to end up doing something that's from Earth. You know what? We'll call it the Melian. Melian personal. Well, the Melian's completely is a... The Melian in one of my other things is a large submarine. So let's not call it the Melian. Um, I'll call it the White Grape. And is just an alien. We'll give it a D8 because that's all we have. Now let's look at these others. Intellectual powers, mobility, self-control powers. Let's look at what those are up here. Okay, so mobility is all the travel stuff. Flight, leaping, momentum, swimming, swinging, teleportation, wall crawling. Intellectual is awareness, deduction, intuition, lightning calculator, and presence. Let's see here. Inventions, robotics, but not power suit or gadgets. By the way, the difference between inventions and gadgets. Gadgets is gear you get from you purchase or you are given or assigned. Inventions is stuff you create yourself. It's probably more unique and to the purpose. Like Expatriate from the card game is gadgets. Has gadgets through the facet of all her guns are her gadgets. The Punisher would also be gadgets. He doesn't have a particular signature weapon the way Expatriate does. He just has a high amount of gadgets, and it's guns. And that's what he would do. Inventions is you do it yourself. And robotics and power suit, the difference is fairly... they're similar, but power suit you wear, a robot does itself. I'm thinking they're more like a hologram type person, or maybe, yeah, they might be magical, but because again, I've said there is a magic. Self-control is all like the shape-shifting and tangibility and stuff like that, and I think I'm going to go with that because of the hologram thing. In fact, the hologram thing, I'm going to go with... Why would she have a signature vehicle if she has... Well, I mean... If she's a hard light entity that can make herself, I'm going to go say intangibility. Yes. And is psychic an option? Psychic is not an option. I'm going to say intangibility, and there's nothing like force. I'm going to call it radiant because hard light. So, intangibility. And yes, I called the vehicle White Grape because there is like HEB sweetened white grape sparkling water just on my desk in front of me. And it's a cutesy name. So, radiant. Okay, so these are her powers. You know what? Instead of this, I'm going to go ahead and give her a... We'll see what that is. But she's an artificial being. I'll give her lightning calculator instead. As a note, every character has powers, even the powerless types. That's why you have gadgets here, and also note deductions under here. Deductions here, investigations down here. So detective types would have the power of deduction. Okay, so we've assigned our 3 D8s to powers: signature vehicle, intangibility, and lightning calculator. We have 2 yellows to pick, and then we have a green to pick. There are 3 options. There are usually power sources give you a list of 3 yellow abilities to pick, and you choose 2 of them. In this case, we've got created immunity, Interesting. Multiple assault and recalculating. Recalculating is interesting. It lets you take a little bit of damage to re-roll your die pool for an action. So I think we're going to take multiple assault. We're going to rename it, obviously. That'll be in later. Multiple assault. That's an action. I just want her to have them to have some action using, we're going to call it using intangibility. Yep, the attack using intangibility against, kind of like Shadowcat does, using your min die. The minimum, min die means minimum die. What they mean by max die, min die, and mid die is that when you make an attack, when you make any action, you choose one power, one quality, and then you add wherever your status dice happens to be. And if you're just doing a basic action, you're always going to use your mid die. If you're going to use one of these abilities, you might use your min die but affect multiple targets, or you might do your mid die against one target but your min die against another, or some other such thing. And typically yellows are more powerful than greens and reds are more powerful than yellows. This isn't always true. There's a lot of things where it says like choose 3 green abilities, then choose a 4th to be a yellow ability. And what it is, green abilities you always have access to. Yellow abilities you only have access to when things are a little bit dire, your health is down, or the situation's dicey. And red abilities are big time abilities that you only bust out when things are extremely dire. This is things are not looking good. This is things are incredibly dire. Bring out the big guns. Okay, so created immunity I think we're going to do, but you need to have so we're going to turn this back into radiant. We can hopefully pick up lightning calculator later, but we're going to call it created immunity. There we go. When you would take damage from radiant, you may recover that amount of health instead. This isn't great because there aren't a lot of things that do radiant. And actually cosmic might be better for pure force. I think I'll go ahead and do that. Radiant is pretty rare. Okay. So yeah. When you would take damage from cosmic, you may recover that amount of health instead. We'll rename these later. These bits you rename. Most of these you do not rename except for the signature weapon, signature vehicle type stuff. I'm just going to note this is a vehicle. Okay. And we have a green ability. The 2 green abilities that are options here are created form, which reduces damage you take, and intentionality, which allows you to re-roll ones. I like intentionality for this character. I mean, the resistance to damage for creative form is nice, but I like the intentionality for someone that is basically, I'm thinking, is here to do like a study project. Ever you roll a 1 on 1 or more dice, you may re-roll those dice. You must accept the result of the re-roll. As a note, there are times you may want a 1 because there are times when one of your abilities might damage you. So there are times you might want to roll low. I still like the idea of her being hard light and this intangibility in cosmic. Okay. And that gets us to the next step because that is what you get from power source, is 2 to 3 powers, and how many you get depends on what your background was. Our background gave us 3d8, so we got 3 powers, and they're all at d8. Another background might have given us 2 d10s and a d6. Another one might have given us a d12 and a d6. I think there's something like that anyway. Oh, there's a d12 with 2 d6s. Okay. There's a 10 and an 8. But yeah. Okay. So the next bit is we go on to figure out the archetype. And for that, we're going to look at artificial being. And it's a d10 and 2d8. So we're going to reset this. And roll the 2d8 and roll the d10. And we got a 2, a 4, and a 6. So that would be Shadow, Marksman, Close Quarters Combat. And I'm a little bit disappointed here because 2 plus 4 is 6. So we lose out one option. But 2 plus 6 is 8, which is Flyer. And 6 plus 4 is 10, which is Robot Cyborg. So we get Shadow, Marksman, Close Quarters Combat, Flyer, or Robot Cyborg. I mean, Robot Cyborg could still be hard light thing, and it goes in with what we already have. Let's see. And I have a hologram riding a space-Vespa. Flyer, Close Quarters Combat. I have Researcher, and we can do a reroll. So let's see here. I'm actually going to do a reroll. So 1 and 2 7s. So Speedster, Armored, or Flyer, or Minion Maker? I mean, okay. Minion Maker's a little bit on the complicated side, so I don't want to do it as an example. It also, yeah, it could do that, but I could do Armored. Ah, good. Armored does allow for one of the things I want, which is the intellectual capability. So we're going to go with Armored as the archetype. Okay, so Armored. Well, we have a D10 and 2D8. Now, with archetypes, you aren't just given a list of things to select from. You're given them a list in order. Like, if you were to take close combat quarters combatant, close quarters combat, you would have to spend at least 1 die on close combat quality. We do not have to do that. Now, the archetypes can provide both qualities and powers. In this case, assign 1 or more to this list of, there's going to be like assign 1 or, if there's a required one like close combat, says assign 1 die to this, then there'll be a list of powers saying assign 1 or more to this, and then there'll be a list of qualities saying assign any remaining to this. So I think we're just going to do lightning Actually, do I want lightning calculator? I think I want intuition. And then the remaining 2, awareness might also be good. Intuition is you've got hunches, fuzzy sort of follow your instinct type things. Awareness is physical senses like Daredevil's super enhanced senses, Wolverine's enhanced smells, that kind of thing. I'm going to go with intuition because they're created, I think, to study culture. Oh, physical qualities and social qualities. Interesting. Hmm. Interesting. At this point, this character does not have much hit points. Okay. So, physical qualities. I think social qualities and physical. I actually wanted information qualities, to be honest with you. What are some of the materials? Huh. Transmutation, toxic, stone, metal, plants, metal. Don't really view a lot of those. I could get technological though, and I think I will. And go with robotics. I think I'll do this at D10. And I am going to get close combat at D8, which is D6 is good, D8 is really good, D10 is wow, and D12 is are you a god? Okay. So that is those assigned. Now armored, usually you get, with most of these, you get 2 green abilities. Sometimes you get 2 green abilities and a yellow ability, or 3 green abilities. This one, we're going to get 4 green abilities. One is set, and that is armored. Reduce any physical or energy damage you take by 1 while you are in the green zone. 2 while in the yellow zone. And 3 while in the red zone. That means the more dicey things are, the harder you are to do damage to. Side note, armored right here just says physical or energy. Some things might say put this here, the brackets. That would, if you see the brackets, you have to choose physical or energy. You don't get both. This power just says physical or energy, no brackets, so it gets both. Down here, where I chose intangibility, what it said in the book was power. So that means you had to choose a power. And it stays that way until you can switch things up between adventures. After every 6 sessions, you're able to switch things up. Okay. So now we get 3. There's Deflect, Dual Offense, Living Bulwark, Repair, and Unstoppable Charge. I am going to get Repair. It's an action. Attack using... Attack using Cosmic. It makes sense, since I'm assuming the robotics is just within their, they're not the robotics. So actually, Power Suit might be better suited. I think the power suit is going to be a hard light thing itself that they just summon, but it's like subroutines to add on to things for self-defense, basically, is what I'm picturing it as. Okay, so attack using cosmic, and let's see, recover health equal to your min die. Now, because the attack does not tell us which one to use, you assume it uses the middle die. So you attack with the middle die and you recover health equal to the min die. I am also going to get Living Bulwark, I think. Now, one thing about this that you will see with a lot of things, you would also see it in the power source, is it will say things like, where is it? Gain 2 of these yellow abilities, each using a different power. Now, we kind of sidestepped that because... No, we didn't. Because we have Cosmic and Intangibility. We could not have just done Cosmic. We had to do both of these with different powers. So the same thing here, using at least 2 different powers or qualities. So, Living Bulwark. Now, Living Bulwarks uses power, which means you have to choose a power, not a quality. There's another one here that says attack using power quality, which means you would choose either a power or a quality to power that thing. I am probably going to be taking that later. Okay. Attack using... we're going to call it power suit. Defend another target with your min die. This is important. There is no roll to hit. Every attack lands, in theory. And defend is an action, so you have to choose to defend yourself. This allows me to both attack and defend, not myself, but somebody else. Armored here is essentially making it to where there is constantly some level of defense on this character. They have constantly, like, they did the defend action with a roll of 1 or 2 or 3. And third power. We are going to take that one, Unstoppable Charge. And it is an action. Attack. Nope, we're not going to go down there because I should not have hit tab. The tab order is still mucked up. Attack using, and I'm going to call it close combat. It's a quality, but Ignore all penalties on this attack. Ignore any defend actions. And it cannot be affected by reactions. That's pretty powerful. But it's just going to be using the mid die. It just has all this benefit that it literally cannot be stopped. Okay, now there are 2 other benefits. Every archetype also provides a principle, but Armored has another benefit, which is that it alters the way you gain health. Now, normally, you only gain health from athletic powers and mental qualities, but Armored allows you to get health from either a materials power or a technological power. That is why I decided to add Power Suit in the end, to get that extra D8 of hit points. Extra 8 hit points. So, that'll come later. We do have to choose an expertise principle. Expertise is kind of fun. Expertise whispers, expertise, which is you have something whispering in your head. Tactician is you're good at being tactical. Making plans, strength, stealth, speed, science. I don't particularly want science. History is interesting. Indestructible might be interesting. Let's see. Lab. No, this is more of cultural study thing. Powerless does not fit. Powerless is, you don't actually have powers, but you know how to get around people. It would still fit. It's like you know how to handle the psychology of the superpowered to use their powers against them. Basically, it's the Punisher type thing. Indestructible. History might fit. Esoteric is space. That would also fit, but we can't get that. We could with one of the retcons, but I'm not sure we will. I am going to go with Indestructible. The principle of the Indestructible, because she's a hard light construct. Okay. During role playing, you ignore damage from unpowered close combat weapons and attacks. Basically, if you're in a combat, you're not fighting unpowered close combat weapons and attacks. Such as clubs, non-powered fists, or basic ranged attacks such as slings and arrows. Now, if you're being shot at by Hawkeye or the Green Arrow, that's not basic ranged attacks. That's an expert level archer. That's going to be doing damage to you. If you're being attacked by Batman or the Wraith or somebody like that, that's not a non-powered fist. This is basically, if you're in a role-playing situation, we might have such things where people try to beat you up, and it stays role-playing because they're not able to really do anything to you. Okay. Minor twists. What goes wrong with your defenses? Major twist. Who gets hurt other than you as a result of you not being able to take damage? That's another thing. That's the Superman problem in Fate. How do you play someone who's indestructible in a Fate game? Is that the stress that they take is due to like maybe mental stress, like a bullet ricochets off Superman's chest and hits somebody, it hits a bystander. In this case, a bullet shoots through this person intangibly and it hits somebody else. Okay, and we get a principle. The principle of the Indestructible. And I do not believe that Indestructible is one of the weird ones. I think it is pretty much the same as Liberty, just a different situation. Overcome in a situation where you charge headlong into danger and use your max die. You and each of your allies gains a hero point. I really like this thing for the overcharges on the principles. Like, you can get the principle of strength, where is basically overcome, you are very strong, overcome using brute force and use your max die. This means you could have two people who have strength as a power from the athletics powers, and you could have someone who has a strength at D8 and somebody who has a strength at D10, and then the person with the D8 has principle of strength. Because of this principle, if they're in a situation they're using brute force, they use their max die. Even with that D8, they will tend to be doing more reliably super strength things than the person with D10. It's really clever way to do it. I like it. Okay. Anyway, so that is everything for the archetype. The archetype gave us three dice to assign. We assigned it to intuition, power suit, and close combat. It gave us, in this case, 5 green abilities, if you include this, but it gave us 4 green abilities and a principle, which gave us another green ability. You don't often end up with this many green abilities. This is unusual, but because mostly a lot of the power sources don't give green abilities like this, and a lot of the very few of the archetypes, this might be the only one, give you 4 green abilities. Most characters will have 3 green abilities, 5 if you include the 2 principles. So most will have like 5 green abilities, and these 2 will be blank. And they'll have 2 yellow abilities, maybe 3, because it is possible to get a yellow ability off of the archetypes. But anyway, that's that. The next step is personality. And we again are going to roll for the personality. But for personality, it is always D10. That is why there are no dice listed here. For personality, it is always rolling D10. So we're going to clear this, or 2D10. And we're going to do this. So it's 5 and 7. And 5 is sarcastic, 7 is stalwart, and 12 is nurturing. I like nurturing for this character, this hard light hologram lady who rides around on a space-Vespa. Yep. Okay. Now, nurturing is one of the weird ones. If you look at most of them are either a D8s across the board, or start at D6 and into D10, or start at D10 and into D6. You have a few that are unusual, like this one is D6, D6, D12. Mischievous is D6, D8, D8. Impulsive is D6, D6, D8. Those ones, and like naive, D6, D6, D12, are a little bit unusual. With impulsive and mischievous, that's because those 2 provide additional benefits beyond that are unusual compared to the other personalities. Nurturing and naive just give D12s in the red zone, so that when things really hit the fan, you are extremely capable. Now, what personality gives us is a role-playing quality, which is always a D8, that we get to name ourselves. It gives us our status dice, as you can see. It gives us an out ability. It's a thing we can do when the character has been taken out, knocked unconscious, forced to flee, otherwise removed from the scene by damage, which is important. You do not die when you hit 0 health. You are out of the scene. Dying is one option, but that generally is not the only one option. So in green zone, our status die is D6. In yellow zone, our status die is D6. In red zone, it's a D12. D6 is still better than most people in the world, so you're still really good. But when things are really dangerous, this person really shines through. So we are going to name a role-playing quality, and it's hard light anthropologist. And I'm going to say she looks human. It's always a D8. Because she's built to fit in. She is not secretly here, because, Earth has been visited by aliens before, but she is just here to enjoy the culture and study it. And, yep, she is a hard light anthropologist. Okay, so we also get an out ability. For nurturing, it is boost an ally by rolling your single quality boost. It's a quality. So boost an ally by rolling your single, we're going to say insight die. Now this is a thing you can do when your turn comes up. When you would normally be choosing an action, you can just do this. You can't do anything else, you can just do this until a new scene happens and you get to wake up. But this can be fairly powerful, especially when our insight die is a D10. We also get 2 red abilities. Now, red abilities, what we have access to is limited by what we have here. So we have a signature vehicle, we have self-control, we have energy, we have intellectual, we have technology, we have social, we have information, and we have physical. So let's go over here. We do not have athletics, so we cannot use it. We do have an elemental or energy power, so we can pick from that. We have a vehicle, so we can pick from that. We have intellectual, so we can pick from that. We do not have materials, so cannot pick from that. There is some overlap. Sometimes the same abilities appear in more than one list. We do not have a mobility power. We do not have a psychic power. We do have self-control. We do have technological. We do have information. We do not have mental. We do have physical. And we do have social. And let's see. I like Inspiring Totem. Whenever you use an ability action, which is any of these, basically, whenever you use an ability action, you may also perform any one basic action using your mid die on the same roll. It's very powerful. Lead by example. When make a basic action using quality, use your max die. All other heroes who take the same basic action on their turn make the same against the same target receive a boost from your mid plus min die. It's basically, I'm going to attack, and everybody else gets to attack with a boost. Or, I'm going to overcome, everybody else gets to overcome with a boost, basically, if they choose to do the same thing. I am going to get Inspiring Totem because it just makes all of these so much better. It's like, attack using Cosmic, also defend you. Attack using Power Suit, defend you and defend myself. Attack using Close Combat, also hinder you. I do not have any ability to hand... Oh, no, I have 1 multiple target attack. Okay, but we're going to call Inspiring Totem here. It is an I, which is an inherent, so it's action, inherent, and reaction. We're going to do an inherent. We do not have any reactions yet, so it's probably what I'm going to do with the other one. Okay. Right. So this isn't something that happens with a basic action. It's when you use an ability action, not a basic action, an ability action. You may also try to get the wording right. Perform any one basic action using your mid die. This also makes it interesting with the principles because these are ability actions, which means I can overcome and attack in the same action now using the principle, or overcome and defend, or overcome and boost, or you cannot do overcome and health because recover is not a basic action. It is something you get from ability actions. Okay. So let's look at, we do not have a reaction aware response. After an opponent attacks or hinders you or a nearby ally, attack the opponent using your single quality die. It would have to be deep space knowledge, which would limit where you could use it. No, that's mental qualities. We do not have that. Let's see. Technological, these are all actions. Self-control. When you would be dealt damage, you may roll your single, would be intangibility, as a defend against that damage, and as an attack against a nearby target other than the source of that damage. That works. As a defend, it can also boost yourself with that same roll. That also works. To be honest, the empowerment one sounds more interesting and more in tune with what the kind of character is rather than attack. I mean, she has a lot of attack, but here we go. So empowerment is an R. As a note, most reactions you only roll a single die. I believe that is to keep them quick, so you don't have to spend a lot of time figuring out what's your mid die, what's your min die. So anything reaction is only going to be rolling a single die. Okay. When you are attacked, roll your single intangibility. Yep. Die as a defend action. Against that, as a defend against that attacked. Also boost. Yourself with that same roll. A boost is you give yourself a bonus on something. So this would be like, the other one would have been, oh, I defend myself and also attack a second person, another enemy. But this is, I defend myself and I give myself a bonus, which could be used to either defend a friend or boost a friend or overcome this challenge that we need to overcome to win the scene. This is more versatile. I like it. Okay. So, that is red abilities, which is kind of part of personality, so I'm not sure why they're separate, but I guess red abilities is involved enough to do its own thing. And now we go to retcon, and then health. So, retcon, where they just decided not to post it here. Okay. Fine then. I'll just go look for it in here. Okay. So at retcon, we can swap any two dice within your powers. We get a lot of D8s and D10s, so that doesn't really help us a lot. And I like the D10s where they are. Swap any two dice with your qualities, same situation. Choose a different power or quality used in one of your abilities. So we could go down here and change out one of these, like power suit, to something else. Like when we got these yellow ones, we didn't have intuition or power suit, so we could like switch this to intuition if we wanted to. But anyway, add any D6 quality or power from any category. So we could add another quality at D6. Increase your red status by one die size to a maximum of D12. We're already at D12, so that we cannot do. Change either of your principles to any other principle. I'm happy with the principles I have, to be honest. And gain an extra red ability. Gain an extra red ability. I kind of want to do something with the space-Vespa. Where's that hallmark stuff? I think we're going to get quick exit. Quick exit A. And I'm just going to do this right. This, since it's right here, I should have done it with the other reds. Okay. Ooh. There you go. See, this is what I mean by things in brackets like this. Okay. It says signature weapons. Putting that in brackets is kind of weird. Here you got power. That's more appropriate because this one is you have to use signature vehicle. I guess if you have multiple signature vehicles, that would make sense. You have to choose one. But like here, you have to using power. It would have to be an intellectual power because it's in this list. Down here, it says quality. You have to choose a quality. Anyway, so now we do health. And health is an interesting situation. So that is our retcon. I added a red ability. So for health, you start at 8. Then the maximum status of your red die, which is 12, so that's 20. And then the maximum value of any one of your athletic powers or mental qualities, except for we are also armored, so we can take power suit. We do not have a mental quality. We do not have a athletic power. So we do have a tech power, which is power suit. So that is going to be what we are going to use. So that is 8 plus 12 plus 8. So that is going to give us to 28 right now. It would have been D4 if we had none. And then it's either a roll of a D8 or just 4. But I'm going to go ahead and just roll a D8 because I've done that before on these videos. And we get 2. Wah, wah. So it is 8 plus 12 plus 8 plus 2. And so we have 30. 30 to 23 is green. 22 to 12, and 11 to 1, and the current would be 30. Okay. So now we do finishing touches, and what finishing touches are is this stuff. And I'm going to say she is female, despite being hard light. Okay, age... let's say 5. Height, 5'7" inches. Eyes, glitchy hair. Black skin. I'll say they didn't quite get it right. We're going to say gray. Build, slender. Has an alien personal vehicle, aka space-Vespa, and holographic clothes. Has a holographic subroutines for defense. Power suit. Okay. Oh, personality is nurturing. So we have a nurturing nurturing sentient hologram on a space-Vespa. Okay, so another thing we're going to do is this. Intentionality. We're going to rename this ahead of the curve. Okay, armored. What do we call this? Unhardened. Light. Repair. Buffering. Living bulwark. Tron Trails. Unstoppable Charge. Unstoppable Charge. You know what we could have done? We could have changed Unstoppable Charge to using the white grape. Nah, I like it, what we have. Okay. Actually, no. No, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. That's going to be our retcon. This is going to change from close combat to white grape. And I could have done that originally. So actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it. Ah. I mean, it is a retcon. Let's see if I can... Yep, I still have it. But I could have signed it to being the white grape to begin with. So, never mind. I'm just going to keep it as the white grape. And I just like that's kind of hilarious to me. Oh, she's doing Tron stuff on a space-Vespa. Let's see. Oh, all 0.5 engines engaged. Okay. Multiple assault. Literally walking through. Created immunity. Thanks for the recharge. Okay. Inspiring totem. Multitasking. Empowerment. Open opportunity. Quick exit. Grape escape. Grape ape. And if you can find the layered referential pun to that in that, I salute you. I kind of let it out a little bit. Okay, so here we go. What are we going to call her? Vespa. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Okay. Cultural assimilation. Virtual. 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 Oh, virtual. Oh. We're gonna do a thesaurus. Thesaurus.com. Cultural. DDD. Virtual enrichment. societal program. Who? Let's look at that again. How about P? Society. We live in a society. Public assimilation. Public android. Because android can include like the Blade Runners, the replicants in Blade Runners are basically enhanced clones. They're genetic, so they're still considered androids. So an android is basically an artificial person. Virtual enrichment societal public android. It's ridiculous. Okay. Um. So there's that. Characters. V.E.S.P.A. Okay. So with that in mind, I am going to go ahead and cut this off, and I am going to make a character now. So I'm going to make a Hero Forge character. Actually, I won't make a Hero Forge character because I can't make a V.E.S.P.A. I can't make a space scooter. I think we'll stop here.